Hey everyone, what are we making? Well, I've been fiddling around with my recipe for the multigrain, and I've made a sourdough recipe. So we're going to try it. We're going to see if it pans out, you know. Look over my hair, it's kind of gone wild. Okay, what you're going to need is a half a cup of multigrain hot cereal or oats. I opted to use oatmeal, rolled oats, you know. You could very well use, wait a minute, I'll show you. This brand right here, Bob's Red Meal, they have like a 12 grain hot cereal or a 7 grain or a 5 grain if you can get them. I got this one. This is a hot or cold, but I'm not going to use it. I eat this with just milk, or sometimes warm like you would eat oatmeal. But you could very well use this. I don't want the seeds in my bread. I don't want the raisins in my bread, or I just make a raisin bread or a seed bread. So yeah, I'm not using that. And you can hear I've got my kettle, yeah, heating up my boiling water, because you're going to need, let's see, you're going to need 1.5 cups of boiling water plus 2 tablespoons. The reason you're going to need that 2 tablespoons, if you add wheat bran. You don't have the wheat bran, just leave out the 2 tablespoons. Don't worry about it. I'm adding it. So I will add on 2 tablespoons of extra hot water for the wheat bran. Let me go ahead and cut that off. I'll bring you right back. Okay, I've got my boiling water. As you can see, I'm going to pour it into my bowl. Okay. Now to that, I'm going to add my oats, oatmeal, rolled oats, or cereal. If you're using the hot cereal, you will add that now. Add that into that hot water because you want it to soften it up. You know, it needs to be soft. Now I want to add in my tablespoon of wheat bran. Now you could use more wheat bran, just according to what you like. I used a tablespoon the last time and I really liked the outcome. So that's a good tablespoon there, by the way. Now, when you're using the wheat bran, you're going to want to let this sit at least 30 minutes. So if you're not using the wheat bran, you would let this sit for at least, I don't know, at least 10 minutes. You know, until you let it sit until the temperature is 110 Fahrenheit, or between 110 and 115, something like that. If you don't have a thermometer, look, you know, warm, like room temperature. But yeah, so I'm gonna let this sit. I'm gonna let mine sit for 30 minutes. You know, you can do 15 to 30 with that wheat bran. You could actually do hours, an hour or two. I mean, I'm even tempted to do it the night before and do this mix and let it, you know, do its thing. Maybe put it in the refrigerator overnight. I'm not sure. I'll have to research on that, but and then bring it back out and let it get room temperature. I'll have to look that up. Is, you know, if it's safe to leave it out completely overnight. But yeah, we've got it in there. It's doing its thing. And now I'm going to let this do its thing for about 30 minutes or until that temperature is 110, because I do have a thermometer. And I'm using a, I'm just using this type of thermometer. So I think it's a meat thermometer. That's what I'm using. And when it reaches around, you know, that degrees, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, mine probably is going to be the room temperature because I'm letting it sit with that wheat bran. If you're not using the wheat bran, you know, and I am going to do an auto-lease with this. So let me go over the ingredients with you, because that's what I was going to do to begin with. Okay, we went over the oatmeal or hot cereal and the boiling water. Okay, and then the wheat bran. Okay, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of honey. If you want to, you can opt that out and use sugar. I'm going, you know, more natural, more good for you. So I'm opting with the honey, and we have bees, so, you know, I've got that honey, I might as well use it. you're going to need 3 tablespoons of melted butter or oil. I'm opting to use the avocado oil. You could use butter. You could use, if you don't have avocado oil, you could use olive oil. If you don't have that and you have vegetable oil, you could use that. I'm just opting for the more healthy, aspect. But if you don't have it, use what you got. You don't need anything real fancy to make bread. You can do it. And my hair is crazy today. Okay. To another bowl I have here, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 cups of bread flour, and 1 cup of whole wheat flour. Now, that's to this bowl. You're also going to need 1 cup of active sourdough starter. Now, you could feed it, if you wanted to, something like a rye or a wheat. I've got one over there that I've done that way, and I plan on using that in here to make it more, of that whole grain type. Yeah. Also optional, you could use 2 to 3 tablespoons of seeds like flax seed, sesame seed, or sunflower seeds. And you could opt to put, oatmeal on the top of your bread if you want to. I'm not doing that because we don't like all the seeds in ours, as far as just eating it, toast and everything. I'm trying to see if I missed anything on here. We're going to be doing, after this cools off, we're going to do an autolyse. What we'll do is we are going to only mix our mixture of flour and salt into that. We're not going to put our sourdough starter now. I am going to put the honey though. The honey will go in there before the flour. I'm going to put the honey in there and stir that around. Then I'll put my flour mixture, and then we'll mix that up, and we're going to cover it up, and we're going to let that sit. Now, anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. I want to go a little bit longer on it because I feel like that'll affect the flavor. Now, I could be wrong, but, you'll learn. That's the way you do this. You learn. So don't be intimidated by bread. You can do it. But I'm going to let mine sit for probably an hour or 2. And probably won't go over 2 hours, though. Because if you start going upwards, I feel like you'd have to put it in the fridge. And I don't really, I want to do that after I shape it. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So, as soon as this cools off, I'll bring you back. We'll start getting her ready for the rest of the process. Okay. It's not too warm now. So, I'm going to add in my honey. Okay, I'm going to give it a stir with this spoon because I want to get that, all that honey in there that I can. It's still a little warm. Okay. Now for our flour and our salt mix. So they're already in there. Our 2 cups of bread flour, our 1.5 teaspoons of salt, I use sea salt, and our 1 cup of whole wheat flour. Now we'll give it a good mix with our bread whisk. here. Whoop. I get my shaggy dough. I wish I had a big clear bowl. I have got those plastic ones, but I'm not putting no, you know, where I poured that hot water, that boiling water, I'm not doing that in those, because, you know, you get those plastics into your food possibly, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. So we're gonna get it with this. Okay, I'm gonna go in with my hands and get, I just want it all incorporated, and then I'm gonna basically cover it up and let it sit for about 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm gonna let it sit. No, I'm opting. I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna go do 2 hours. This is our Aldo-Lees. I don't know why I got kind of thrown off there that we've done mixed everything in. I guess because I'm so used to making just the sourdough without the Aldo-Lees, but I want to do that. I really, yeah. I liked it the last time I used it on a pumpernickel that I did in it. Yeah, very soft bread, good rise as well. Okay, there we go. We got it. We got her ready. Now, I'm going to show you. Now this will have to sit, like I said, I'm probably going to go 2 hours, maybe an hour. I'm thinking 2 though, because I want a better flavor. I'm opting for a better flavor out of it, and I feel like I may get one. If y'all bakers that know could let me know, if you know. Yeah. Okay. Got it. I'm going to cover it up. I don't know if this will, I don't think that's going to work. I'll get another piece and cover this up, and I'll bring you back. Okay, got my starter in there. I let her go for about a little bit over an hour instead of 2. Now I want to, well, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go ahead and go in here and try to mix this in, and then I'm going to put my oil in there. So I still like my oil. So I'm just using that dough to get that starter incorporated. And I noticed there's a gnat flying around. I can't stand those things either. Yeah. He needs to go get in that grow cabinet and jump on a sundew. Yeah. Didn't want to get it on that hand. Look at me. I did though. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. It's all yucky. Yucky, yucky. I don't want to have to put any more flour. I may have to. I don't want to, but I might have to. Because it's messy. It's so messy. But of course, I'm going to wait and see though. I'm not going to put it in there now. We're going to put our oil in there. And we're going to wait and see. And if we have to put some flour, we will. But I'm hoping we don't. Because we're going to come back after we let her sit. And we're going to do some stretch and folds. I'm just putting that starter, getting that starter in that Aldo-Lees, and then I'm going to get my oil in there, and we'll go from there. So I don't want to touch my bottle with this hand though, so I'm going to actually clean my hand off, because if you see it's nasty, and then I'll bring it back. Judging how wet that is, I opted to put a couple of tablespoons of whole wheat flour, so I did do that. You can see it. Yeah. Now I'm going to put my 3 tablespoons of oil. How's your weather where you're at? It's crazy here. It's stupid gnat. Hot and cold and hot and cold. It's like we getting every season, you know, in a day. That's the way it feels anyhow. Okay. Yeah, that feels a little better. It's still wet, but I think she'll come together. And you know, if it's still really wet when I come back to do my stretch and folds, then I may opt to put a little bit more flour, but I don't think I'm going to. But I did add like probably 2 tablespoons. I just poured a little bit in there, so I'm guessing. I'm guesstimating. Okay, got that in there. I'm gonna cover this back up. See here? Got everything incorporated. Gonna let this sit, cover it up, let it sit for 30 minutes. I'll bring you back for, well, I'll bring you back for stretch and fold, and then we'll go from there. Okay, time for our first stretch and folds. Okay. We're gonna just pull it up. I'm gonna do at least 4 sets of stretch and folds. And I'm going to do them like 30 minutes apart. I liked how that worked the last time I did it. So that's how you learn. You learn from trial and error, you know. Oh, she's jiggly. Look at that. So jiggly. Sticky but jiggly. So we are going to go with it. And, you know, yeah. Hopefully she won't be too wet when we get ready to do our shaping. If so, we'll deal with it. We'll do something. Last stretch and fold on this. I ended up having to add more flour, so I just went ahead and put on my recipe that to put 1/4 of a cup more flour. So yeah, I mean, it's still kind of wet, but I think it'll be all right. So I'm thinking at least 1/4 of a cup more water per this one. Still real sticky. I think though that once she gets doing her thing, I think it'll be all right. I'm actually going to switch this over into one of my clear bowls so I can watch it. I want to be able to see it for bubbles and all that, since it's so wet, still sticky, you know. I think it's all right now, babe, but it was worse than that, and I did put a little more flour. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna close it up, let it do its thing. I don't know how long that'll take, and then once we get it there, then I'll bring you back and we'll shape it up and score it. Yep, put her in the fridge. Well, I forgot about her. So I'm not sure. Not so sure if she's going to be okay. Maybe. I guess we'll find out, won't we? We will see. I mean, I seen bubbles, but I thought, well, it's not quite there. So, yeah. She's kind of sticky still. Ooh, she's real sticky. Okay, got some flour. We're just gonna put some flour on there, and we're gonna hope for the best. I have got this trusty filler here. Okay, we'll see. Just trying to make sure it's not going to stick. Okay, maybe not. Boom, 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 boom. Feels, I mean, it's sticky, but it's not like horrid. A little bit sticky. It's not too bad. Not really. Yeah, we will see. All right. Bum, 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 bum. How do I want to do this? I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. Oh, she gets sticky. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, we got fat bubbles here. I think she might be all right. Maybe. I might, give me a minute. I might have to get some more flour. I hate having used so much flour, but she just a little bit sticking to that. Sticking. Yeah. But, boom. Isn't too bad. Ooh. Yeah, now we go. Let's see if we can get some tension going on this thing. Now that we're not sticking to the well, still sticking a little bit. Not horrid. Just a little bit. Bump, bump, bump. I'm going to put it in a loaf pan. Yep. And it's going to go in the refrigerator. Well, I'm going to let it sit out for a little bit. And then it'll go in the refrigerator. I don't know for how long. Don't you bust on me. Oh no, we got some tearing. Gummit. I probably worked it too much. Let's go up under there. See if I can put that on. Oh. I've got my paper over here ready. Put that on the bottom, maybe. Is that tearing? Okay. Sticky a little bit. Okay, we'll see. You know, it's like trial and error. Ain't that right? Oh, I talk to you like you're right here with me, don't I? Okay, I think we got that. Now I gotta get it in this pan. Yeah, boys. Gotta get it in the pan. Well, shucks far. Let's see if I can move it. Check my pan. I'm sorry you're having to do that sound there. Okay. I can do it. Okay. I can go in there looking like crap and come out looking good. So, I mean, bam, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so if we score it, we'll see. We probably will score it if it rises, you know, because it is sourdough. So this one is sourdough. I had a dull moment on one that wasn't sourdough, and it was just, you know, yeast. And I'm like, oh, it's sourdough, so I've got to score it. Yeah, scored it. It looked good, though. Okay, so covering, bench resting for a little bit, then in the fridge overnight. And, well, we'll see tomorrow. Okay. We're going to bake her. I was going to bake her yesterday and I didn't get it done. So I'm going to do it today. So it was in the refrigerator for a whole day. Yeah. Well, I pressed in on her and she bounces back. So, okay. I am going to, now this is the sourdough, so I am going to give it a score down the center so it doesn't have a blowout or anything like that. I'm just going to go right down the center there. Nothing major. Well, you know what? I'm going to make a few little extra places on the side here. I'm just using my knife because, yeah. Just to be doing it, I suppose. Now, I know this is sourdough, but I'm not going to cook it on a high temperature, real high. I'm going to try it at, honestly, I've got the oven preheating, so I have got it preheating on a high temperature. I've actually got it on like 450 now, and I've got my pizza stone in there. So yeah, I've got it in there, and I'm going to have it buffering between the pan and, you know, so that it doesn't burn. But yeah, there, I've got it scored, best if you can see it, possibly. And then here's the way I'm going to do it now. I'm not putting this in Dutch oven. I could very well put water in there and let it steam, which I do have water in there, but here's the thing. When I'm cooking it at a low temperature, that water does not really want to steam. Now, when you've got it up on, I've got it high right now, preheating, and I've got water in there to steam. But when you're cooking it on a lower temperature, I noticed that it doesn't really want to steam up in there. So, I'm going to put a pan on top of this pan, but I'm also, you see this tiny little ice tray, which goes to my small refrigerator. I am putting right down in the corners underneath my bread. I'm going to put, it's underneath the bread. I'm putting it right down underneath my parchment paper because I have got parchment paper. And I've got 4 pieces of ice. That's going to go right down in there like so. Now, I've done this on the sourdough pumpernickel, and it was very soft bread. So, yeah. Okay, there, it should steam up. Now, I'm actually going to tear some of this paper away because that's just too much. I just want a little bit to try to help me get it out. Of course, I could just turn it up, honestly. Okay, now, and hopefully this turns out good because, you know, just trying it and seeing. Okay, fit right on there. Yeah, these pans are really old, but see. And then I'll set that in there, And hopefully the point of that ice being in there is like a Dutch oven, so it steams up and it helps to make the bread softer. I'll bring you back once she's done and we will see. Okay, we've got her out. Nice and brown. Let's see. I wish it had rose more than it did, but it's not flat. So it did do some raising. Oh, it's pretty. Look at that. And soft. Look at the sides. Really hot. Looks good though overall. I mean, I'm thinking. Yeah. So I'm going to put it over here to cool on my cooling rack. And then we will come back in later and I'll cut it and show you how it looks, and I'll try it. So yeah. Okay, she's cool. So we're gonna cut her and see. Not sure. Looks pretty good. It's not gummy or anything. Oh. Ah. There we go. Okay. Looks good. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah. Bouncing back. Okay. But I haven't ate, so I don't need a great big piece. I'll take a little piece. Okay. Tastes good. So it's got a good taste. Just have to adjust that flour like I told whenever I was making it. And other than that, I mean, it's got a good taste. And I think if I had baked it a little sooner, I think that it would probably have gotten taller, because I think I waited just a little bit longer than I should have and left it in the fridge. Yeah. But overall, I think it's good. So I'll be keeping that recipe. But yeah, till next time, have a good one. Bye.